Hello, and welcome to the Thinking Ahead podcast. My name is Ronaldo Stevens, and I'm your host on this journey to not only fund your future in education, but to find the right path for you while staying debt-free. You could say we're seeking truth in college, careers, and finance. In the last episode, I went over how to talk and interview people in your desired field or with potential employers. Something I forgot to mention last time, and I feel silly for leaving this out, is the job fair. A job fair, also known as a career fair or employment fair, is an event where a bunch of employers set up with their recruiters and look for potential employees for positions that are offered throughout the company. Now, most of the positions that you're going to find at these events are entry-level positions or lower-level positions. Higher-level positions are usually filled through scouts. Those are people who approach individuals for a specific role. However, as a student, whether you're a high school student, college student, or a recent graduate, these events are really good for you to see what the job market is looking like in your area. Parents of high schoolers, you can go with your student and help out with this milestone. If you go online and search job fair in my area, you'll more than likely find several. Now, before you go into a job fair, there are a few tips that I'd like to go over here so that way you're more prepared for the fair than I was my first time when I went to a job fair. Tip number 1, have a resume. Now, there are a lot of people that just show up to these events and they grab the flyer posting the position, write their name down on an interest form, and they speak to the recruiter and say, "Hi, my name is such and such. Please remember me." And the recruiter will say, "Yeah, I'll remember you." They won't remember you. They're going to talk to at least 50 people throughout the event, so it is best for you to have a resume and make sure that you and your personality are tied to that resume. If you have an engaging conversation and they write a note on the resume, that is a good sign. Though they also could write bad things on there, but I digress. If they like your personality, yet they have nothing to make a note on or to write down what you talked about that is tied to you and your skills and why you're a good fit, you've already lost the game. In your job search, resumes are the first thing that you need to build. Whether the job search market is online or through an employment agency, it is often the first introduction of a company to your worksona, that is your workplace personality and skill set. It lays out what you're about before you actually meet the people, and while it's not going to be the sole reason you're hired, it is a reason to get a callback or an interview. This dynamic does switch at job fairs. You are allowed to make a first impression with your presence. If you seem like a nice person, knowledgeable, or even just hold easy conversation, most of the time the recruiter will want to give you a chance if you have the skills they're looking for. If you've never sat down to write a resume, there are countless websites, templates, videos that can explain how to do it. Personally, I started out by using a Microsoft template combined with advice from Monster, Indeed, and a few YouTube videos. That gave me a decent starting point, but it was only after reviewing my resume with friends and family that I was able to upgrade and level it up to become a better selling point. Special shout out to my brother for helping me out. Tip number 2. Have a business card. While this one is not as important as having a resume, if you are just passing by a table and they don't need your service yet, or if you're a freelancer, or if you met another person at the job fair and you guys are looking to work together or make a connection, a business card is a great way to exchange information. Personally, I like business cards that have a little bit of white space on them so you can write notes on how you met the person, what event you're at, and just some other information. Some people, especially artists and graphic designers, fill their business cards all the way to the brim with information or pictures or artwork, and it is okay to do that. However, you may want to leave a white space or a clear space so that somebody can write information on there. Even in our modern environment, with phones and LinkedIn profiles, business cards are still important. A lot of people don't believe you need one because of QR codes and such, but if you look at any contact list that's over 100 people, you will have trouble remembering how you met the person, what their job is, and where you met them. A business card is a nice tangible reminder that you can go back to at the end of the day and remember who you talked to and make that next step connection. The next tip number 3, is don't arrive late. Furthermore, don't show up in the last hour. Career fairs can sometimes be very big where they take up entire convention floors, or they can be very small where they take up the smallest boardroom. In either case, you'll want to allow yourself enough time to actually peruse and browse and see everything. In other cases, you'll just want to make sure that you're there when the employers are there. The last job fair I went to was scheduled to be from 11 to 3. However, by 2 o'clock, all but one table was shutting down. Recruiters are people too, and they have other things to do. Not to mention, they may get tired after so many hours of talking and introducing themselves, and if they have not seen many potential employees that will give their company a boost, they may just leave. You don't necessarily have to be the first in line when you show up to a job fair, but if you show up in the second half, you can't expect to get the same level of service and excitement from the recruiters. Sometimes they just want to go and have lunch. So make sure that you don't show up in the last half or the last hour. Another piece of advice when going to a job fair is to go in knowing what you want or what you are looking for, especially at the bigger fairs. If it is a huge career fair that has up to or over 100 employers, you will not have time to truthfully engage with each one of those tables. When you go into these events, you should have a job or field in mind. That way, if you approach a table and they have no positions in your field, or if their department or office location does not handle the position that you want, you can thank them for their time, thank them for the conversation, and move on. This will not only save you time, but it will save you mental energy and cut back on mental stress. If you go in without a target, then everything becomes a possibility, and that weight on your mind just takes away your energy. The best thing to do is have a gig or a job in mind and take what's useful that you find and throw out what's not. Tip number 5. If you have an employer or a job you especially want to go see them second or third. This piggybacks off of a previous tip because if you arrive late, they may not be around. But you're probably thinking, why not talk to them first? The answer is nerves or nervousness. If you try to have your best interview without warming up, it's just like trying to play sports without stretching. You won't give your best performance. Talk to 1 or 2 other recruiters before talking to your main goal so that you can get a feel for holding a conversation with a business professional. It allows you to get used to answering and asking questions. You also don't want to see your preferred employer last. You have outreach batteries or social batteries that drain with each interaction. Your last interaction of an event is probably where you're going to start feeling tired or disenfranchised if you've had bad interactions, or you may even be just tired of talking to strangers. If it is a big event, take the first moment to locate your favorite employers by just walking around the floor. After you get a feel for the types of jobs and companies that are around, then you can start shopping and talking to employers and recruiters. Furthermore, use the job fair to investigate. We talked before on finding out more about positions that you're interested in. If you are unsure if a position is what you want, ask questions about it. The recruiter will give you the best information that they can and also what they're looking for in the candidate. If you know you aren't qualified for a position that they're offering, ask them what you would need to qualify and the path that they recommend so that you can get there. Listen to this interview I did at a job fair with a recruiter about what they're looking for in a candidate.
Hi, I'm with an HR representative from Tech Service Today, and I just wanted to ask her a couple of questions about how you can prepare for an entry-level job, whether you have a high school degree, associate's degree, or a bachelor's degree. So first, what is it that you look for in employees that are coming to work with you with any position?
So the first thing I would add is you also don't have to have a degree. Having a background in HR, it really, those soft skills. I've reviewed resumes of people who have 25 years of experience and have gone to Ivy League schools, and I've not hired them. And I've reviewed resumes of people with a high school diploma, maybe one job in waiting tables, and I have hired them. So really, it's all about selling yourself, your skills, and your potential. I recognize what you're going to bring to the table for the company, understand their business model and how you fit in, and speak to that. For Tech Service Today especially, we're looking for that diversity. We're looking for culture. We're looking for that kind of fit. We're looking for commitment and interest. I think that goes a lot further than a piece of paper, that you learn some things many times.
Right. I think that's very true. Mm-hmm. Now, you mentioned soft skills, mm-hmm. and I think in our modern world with tech and everybody so focused on keywords and buzzwords and how well you can communicate yourself on computer, we lose some of those skills just with the way the world is. Do you have any ways that we can develop or students can develop those soft skills?
Sure, absolutely. I would say this. I have a son who is in college, and he does not have a lot of soft skills. He's, I don't want to categorize people, but he's Gen Z. And so when he went to get his first job, my hope and prayer was that he'd get his first job in a service industry, because you are forced to develop those soft skills. Wait tables, go into retail, and you have no choice other than to develop those soft skills, and then you can take them to the next step, the next job.
So no matter what level you're at, you should consider getting a job that makes you work with people, and makes you talk with people.
So the only way you're successful is if you step out of your comfort zone, right? And you're willing to learn something new and then apply that and then share it with somebody else. So yeah, you have to. It wasn't easy for him. He did not want to do it. But he did it, and I'm so thankful that he had the opportunity.
That's fantastic. Now, the last question I do have for you is, you mentioned that a degree is not needed for many of the jobs that you offer. Mm-hmm. How would you say somebody can develop the hard skills, the best way that they can develop hard skills if they wanted to, let's say, do IT or tech?
So, listen, there's availability to learn just about anything on the internet nowadays, right? Truly, you can YouTube and learn anything. Khan Academy, there are free courses that you can, find, and what's your interest, and just source out, where you can learn those skills. Find a mentor. If you know you want to be in software design, find a software designer and ask them if you can, shadow them or do an internship for them. People want to share knowledge, right? So there's always availability from that perspective. You just have to be creative, find your sources.
Excellent. Yeah. Thank you for your time.
It's
I greatly
a pleasure,
appreciate
sir.
it.
Take care.
Tip number 6. Dress nice, but know that you don't have to go all out. I was trying to get dressed for a career fair, and I was like, oh, what button-up shirt should I wear? And what tie should I wear that matches with it? And I heard a still small voice say, just wear a black polo. And it's true. Depending on what position you're going for or whatever you're doing, a polo, slacks, nice pants, and some clean shoes, hopefully dress shoes, can do the trick. You don't have to wear a suit and tie if you're trying to get an entry-level position at the Coca-Cola facility as a shelf stocker. But you do need to show that you are willing to present yourself in a clean and respectable way. The main thing about job fairs is to look the part. It's not about wearing your absolute best clothes. It's about looking ready to work in the position you're selling yourself for. Different positions have different aesthetics, and the formal business casual scale will slide with that. A solid button-up shirt and dress pants is good for most entry-level positions. At college career fairs, it is common to wear blazers or simple solid color suits. Make sure also to comb and brush your hair, shave, and of course, bathe. You'd be surprised. If in doubt, Brock McGrath says the phrase, it is better to be little overdressed than a little underdressed. And of course, you will want to overdress if you get an actual interview. For more tips on what to wear at a job fair or interview, check out Monster.com's videos and articles on the subject. I'll link them in the show notes. My final tip, smile and enjoy yourself. A lot of the recruiters are going to be talking with others all day. Some of those prospects will have great attitudes. Some of them will have bad attitudes. Some will talk too much, while others will talk too little. But if you are friendly, they will at least be able to relax, and you'll be able to talk with them and hold a longer and hopefully more valuable conversation. The more valuable they see the conversation, the more likely you'll form a connection with them. And then, the more likely it is that you'll be asked for an interview or even offered a job on the spot. To enjoy yourself, just remember that a job fair is a learning and leveling up event. You're learning what's out there, you're learning what recruiters want, you're leveling up your interview skills. You can even make a game out of it, like I did. I have a job, employment, career fair bingo card for download. You can find the link in the show notes, and hopefully it can give you something to do to take the pressure off while you're going from table to table. Those are all the tips I have for today. If you haven't written a resume, your action steps for today should be typing out your employment history and skill sets. If you're young, focus on those soft skills, people skills, and ones that would be good in any situation, such as typing, talking with customers, any computer programs you know, any problem solving you've done in extracurriculars, in class, in school, outside of school, and etc. Volunteering is nearly invaluable for this at the high school level. So if you haven't volunteered, I recommend getting some hours under your belt. If you do have any questions or would like help with some of this stuff, please reach out at thinkingaheadpodcast.buzzsprout.com. In the meantime, keep believing in yourself and keep thinking ahead.